Hey, this your girl coming all the way from the US of A, yeah baby, aka Ya Bantam. And me di feel a boys in pan and to see one bridge with your money how Ghana mat other romantic. What's me sandy provisions? As I sutra credit Emma Ebusuya Fonia and the form one Ghana. And one is a ubako www.ghanamat.com. And them would say, boy, a sharp connection. www.ghanamat.com. Let's try provisions in credit. Na really ankasa. I have friend numbers na mo screen na seno. Ghana Mat ye krano.
Hello, welcome to the Ghana Agenda. My name is Afeda Muzu, and today we have a packed show for you. Today, we are sitting down with Sam George. Sam Dzata George will be joining the show, and we'll be talking about all kinds of things. We'll be talking about fix the country, fix Ghana. It's about time. This conversation should have started long ago, but we are here now. So we'll be asking his opinion on that. And some are saying this problem cuts across parties and it should be discussed not in a partisan way. The person I'm bringing today, a very young, dynamic, vibrant, energetic politician in the NDC who actually represents Nigo Pram Pram, will be helping us get into all those details. I'm going to take a quick break. If you haven't already done so, please send the link to your friends. Tell a friend to tell a friend that the Ghana Agenda has started. And the show is going to be very interesting today. So today, and when I get back quickly, I would be going through the highlights, laying down point by point some of the things I'll be asking the Member of Parliament to help us with. But tell a friend to tell a friend the Ghana Agenda is started, and we are having a great conversation today. We'll be right back. All right. Welcome back. So I'm waiting still for my guest who's going to join us very shortly. But we know that Ghana's economy is heavily dependent on hydrocarbons. And, it takes time to build this new oil fields. So we are projecting that, even though we are going to experience economic recovery because we just actually came out of technical recession based on the double quarter decline of our economy, that the hydrocarbons coming online once those wells are ready to be deliver commercial oil and gas, that our economy will recover fully. Currently, the projection is that Ghana's economy will be recovering at about 2.6. This was revised by the Economic Intelligence Unit from 2.8 to 2.6. So all this in the middle of a pandemic where the government has to fund vaccinations. We have to get the population to herd immunity. So far, we know that the COVAX scheme has delivered some vaccines. People have the first shots, and people are still waiting for their second shots. Those shots, in fact, we also know that some have been, delivered just as of yesterday. So things are looking bright on that aspect, and we believe some people will be getting, those who've got their first shots will be getting their second shot. But herd immunity is going to take time to get to. I think I have my guest joined, but once his video is ready and everything, we'll bring on. So we expect the vaccine rollout to continue to go on, but we're expecting that perhaps around 2022, it will take up to about 2022 for us to see the country actually fully open without restrictions and get to the level of immunity. We need to actually make that happen. Honorable, I see you're on the road. Right. I just want you to be safe, first of all. And thanks for actually joining the show. And I'm just going to jump straight into it. I want to first of all congratulate you on your appointment as an elder of your church and all the things you do in your church and in support of people in your community. So congratulations on that. Do you want to say one or two things about that before we get into the conversations?
Oh well, I mean that's part of my walk with God. I keep telling people that people ask me if I'm a religious person. I'm not a religious person. I'm more of a spiritual person. I believe that my walk with God must define a lot of the things that I do. And so Yes, I've been a member of Parish Chapel since 2007,
Right.
14 years now, and I've committed myself to the work of God, and God Himself has been faithful for in my walk with Him, and so it's a call to more service, to higher service. It's a
Okay.
call to serve more in the vineyard of God, and I keep asking for grace to be able to serve God to the best of my ability.
Thank you so much, Honorable. Honorable, so I know you are a very young man. I'm actually probably a bit older than you, and you do a lot, and I'm so proud of you as well. You are a very young man, very energetic. You've done so much even already at this young age, about 36 or 37. What is the future for you? Quickly, just before I go into, I know you're in Parliament. You want to be what? Are we expecting some presidential run at some point? What is the future holding for you?
No. I mean, for me, I'm focused on my today. I'm focused on what my mandate is. My mandate is to serve the people of
All
Nego
right.
and Prampram, who have so graciously given me a mandate to represent them in Parliament. Like I keep saying, my steps are ordered by God. I never expected to serve in the office of the president. It came by way of God's purposes. When I said I wanted to go to Parliament, most people thought it was impossible because of the seat I wanted to occupy. But I mean, it's all about God's timing. And so for me, my focus is on God's will for my life and what He's given to me to do now. I'll serve in that capacity and in any other capacity that God brings my way. But for now, my focus is on my parliamentary role.
Thank you so much, Honorable, for that answer. And we'll continue to support you. I know your constituents are listening and they are proud of everything you are doing for them. Honorable, there is, this, criticism that has got a storm, and now we have what we call fix the country on our hands. We thought when, the NDC was in government that Occupy Ghana led the fight to actually, question, how government operated then. But then when the MPP came back into power, we didn't see a lot of that. And recently, somebody as high as Sam Jonah came out to state that there seemed to be a culture of silence. All of a sudden, we are now getting ready to get on the streets and protest and ask the government questions. People are saying NDC is behind this. I've heard even places saying NDC has no role in this. And people are finding it difficult to believe. Can you lay their fears down for me, please, before we get into... Yes.
All right. I mean, it's easy for people to think that the NDC is behind Fix the Country or Fix Ghana now. And most people who would have that mindset will have that because maybe they're part of the NPP or affiliated with the sitting government, and they know the role that the NPP played with other individuals who either did the De-Sosoo demonstration at the time, Yvonne Nelson and co, and their affiliation with the NPP at the time, or with Occupy Ghana and the likes of Asan Kuma and other leading members of Occupy Ghana who are today serving in government and who have not heeding their admiration or affinity to the NPP, the likes of Kofi Bentio and co. Or when you talk about Let My Vote Count Alliance, in fact, the convener of the Let My Vote Count Alliance was appointed into government as MD for the Ghana Publishing Company, David Asante. So they come from that background, and because that's what they are used to or what they have done, they expect that that's what someone else would do. But I mean, if you even look at the Fix the Country, you realize, and I mean, the whole of yesterday, if anybody's followed Twitter yesterday, at a point in time, I was trending on number 3 in Ghana because I had been called out. I'm a member of the NDC. I had been called out by a number of people that I had failed in my job as member of parliament because some roads in my constituency had not been fixed. And I went, and I mean, the name and shame, yeah. And they're talking about the Fienya Dawenya Road.
Right.
And there's this new hashtag, name and shame. And so I was tagged and, in quotes, being shamed. And almost every MP in the country was being shamed. And I mean, everybody was running away from Twitter. But I went on Facebook and took everybody on and said, look, you can't say you're naming and shaming me because a road in my constituency is not being fixed. That's not my job. I never campaigned in 2017 or in 2016 or 2020 and said to anybody that I was going to fix a road. In fact, during my campaign team was very, very angry at me because we go to meetings and people ask me about the road. And I say to them, I'm not going to make a promise to you that I'll fix the road. I know that's what you want to hear, but that is not my responsibility. I don't have the power to fix the road. It's the Minister of Roads and the Minister of Finance who have the power. What I have the power to do is to lobby for it.
You can lobby for it, yes.
What I can do is to lobby for it. And on that score, I made a pledge that I would lobby to get the roads fixed. And so yesterday, I took people back on. I clapped back at those who were saying they were naming and shaming me and said, you can only shame me if I failed in my legislative duties in Parliament. And you can only shame me if I fail to lobby for developmental projects. But when it comes to the legislative process, I play a leading role in my committees in Parliament. I've held the Ministry of Communications to account, where I'm the deputy ranking member. I'm working on a private members bill on homosexuality in the country. That's the second private members bill in the history of Ghana. And so you cannot shame me for doing my legislative work. And when it comes to the lobbying for the roads that you're talking about, I have done it. And they said, show us proof. And then I put up pictures of me having summoned the minister to Parliament to answer questions 5 times in 4 years. I put up pictures, I put up a video of that, and I put up pictures of the minister being brought to the constituency by me to inspect the roads. And it turned the conversation around. And people are saying, okay, we see that you have done your part. It's now up to the minister to fulfill his promises. I believe that public office holders have a responsibility to be accountable for their stewardship. But for us to fix our country, we need to do it right. We need to hold the right persons responsible.
Right, but they say you are in a position to bring those public office holders to question them when they don't deliver. And it seems they've not been delivering for a very long time. This country has had strategic plans over strategic plans that have not been met, some of which actually got us into the problems we have right now, especially with our power transmission lines. And those concerns are, even you as an MP, how much of the accountability, how hard are you holding them accountable? Of course, I know you are in a minority and you don't have the power to call. I don't know how it works, but are you able to call the road minister and say, by the way, this road contract has been awarded, it's supposed to be done by this time, what is going on, so that they can account to you?
Yeah, you're able to call up the minister and have a conversation with him. You're able to write a letter to him or visit him in his office and have a conversation with him. You're also able to file a parliamentary question. And when the Speaker of Parliament admits the question, it is then tabled and then a date is given. The minister comes to answer the question in the plenary. And all of those things have been done. But you see, those are all the avenues that are open to you as a member of Parliament. After you've done that, take, for example, on the Afianya Dawenya Road, on the 29th of May 2020. That was the 5th time I brought the minister to answer questions about that road. He said on the floor of Parliament that the contractor had been asked to come back to site and that the contractor was at site. But then that was not true. But then the point is, as member of Parliament, I have no power over the minister. So even though the minister, I have done my job to summon the minister and ask them the right questions, if the minister is not being forthright, if it's not being truthful, I have no further powers to impose any sanctions on him or hold him accountable in any other way, apart from making the noise in court about the fact that he is not doing his job. And so ultimate responsibility rests with the person who appoints the minister. And it's not just about the NPP government. It's the same that would apply to an NDC government. Okay? Ultimate responsibility lies with the president and the controller of the exchequer, who is the minister for finance. When a road contractor is asked to go to site, you need to pay him. Give him the monies to fix the roads. But if you don't release the funds to him and the contractor does not go to site, I mean, what can the MP do?
Right. Okay. So I've heard you on another platform as we are on this topic talking about some of the good things you are doing in the Nego Pram constituency. I've also heard you on other platforms say that you are doing some training, mostly vocational, and you are training seamstresses.
Can you take that again?
I was talking about, hearing you on a platform talking about some training programs you are rolling out in Pram Pram for seamstresses, hairdressers, and we know that the training and the technical skill is one of the structural programs we have in the country. Even though there hasn't been any allocation to your common fund yet, or you haven't withdrawn anything from common fund yet, how are you funding this type of project? And people in the diaspora listening to me, how can they help? Because I belong to a lot of old students organizations who are interested in doing similar things, but they get into the execution, and it's a problem. How can they connect, and how can you bring them into this fold in the program you are delivering in your constituency?
All right, so let me just be clear about this. I mean, if you think that's the People's Manifesto. In there, we had spoken about a national apprenticeship program. Now, this national apprenticeship program was intended to give. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so the National Apprenticeship Program in the People's Manifesto was supposed to be a program that had been rolled out this year by an NDC government to give employable skills to people. Unfortunately, the NDC government did not win the election. However, because I'm an NDC MP, I believe so much in that policy, and I believe that is the fastest way to get people out of poverty, give them employable skills. So what I decided to do was to put together a little resource, personal resource, and from some friends, and say, okay, let's start
All right, so I think Sam's line is giving us challenges again. We'll try to connect with him. He's on the road, so please bear with us. I think he's joining again, and we'll continue the conversation. So Sam, you were talking about the People's Manifesto and some of the things in it, and because you believe in those things, that you decided to put a couple of friends together and execute in your own constituency. So tell us more about that.
As we speak now, the first quarter of the Common Fund, which is supposed to have been from January to March, has not even been disbursed yet. So we've not received anything as part of the Common Fund. However, we're looking to roll out this program using support, personal resources, and support from a few friends. So we decided to start with 700 young people. Now we're doing 350 of them in hairdressing and 350 of them in dressmaking. So we're giving 350 sewing machines and 350 hair dryers to them to start their apprenticeship. We're paying for the period of 18 months training. The 18 months training, we're paying for it. And then they go through the training, and then they write a certification exam. That is offered by the National Vocational Training Institute, which is basically Ghana's highest vocational training certification, NVTI. And so we pay for the exams, pay for the training, and then they have the setup kits that we have given to them to allow them go through the training and start their own businesses, so that these people can have their own source of livelihood. This 700 is the first phase. And for people in the diaspora, look, Ningo Pram Pram is open and welcoming of you. You're welcome to come and support us. And one thing I can assure you of is accountability. There is a cost per person for the cost of a machine. There is a cost for the training program. All of this is available. If anyone is watching us and says, look, I want to support 10 people, we can let you know this is the cost for one person. And to the 10 people, this is going to be what the cost is going to be. And then we will give you the names of the individuals. When we get that support, we can say, okay, so these 10 people have been supported by Mr. A or Mr. B, or Organization A or Organization B. And then you get to monitor the training and the progress of the individuals, so that you know that your money is being put to good use. Because at the end of the day, it ultimately is about how well I can change the lives of my constituents.
Right. Okay, that is wonderful. So now let's quickly switch to Doomsdaw. There's been the debate that the situation currently being experienced in Ghana is not Doomsdaw because there's no schedule. I know that has changed so far. They've introduced the schedules, which is the proper thing to do, because if you have a planned outage, you should be able to put a schedule out for people. Our national grid had suffered over years, and we haven't done much of an upgrade. This cut across governments, both NDC and PP. Here we are. We have enough generation capacity, but we can move our electricity from the western enclaves to the eastern enclave to support industry. How are we going to fix this? How would the MPP, NDC government under John Dramani Mahama fix this?
All right, so let's be clear about something, the challenges in the energy sector. You've got three kinds of challenges. You've got generational challenges, then you've got distribution channel challenges, and you've got revenue mobilization challenges. Now, generation challenges are with having the capacity to meet the demand. Now, that's where we were as a country, because for almost 8 years, that under the Kufuor administration, there was very little investment in that sector. Now you have a situation where John Mahama comes in, he's saddled with those challenges, and he has to fix them. And that's what brought us through Doomsaw for 4 years. We brought in the car power ship, brought in the Ameri power plant, and now we've got excess capacity, production capacity. So doing that was to ensure that we were able to pick up the plants that use only heavy crude and convert them to be able to also use gas. And the NDC government then set up their Twabo gas plant to be able to produce LNG, and that would fire those plants. And so that's what we did. We did that.
Yes, Honorable, I can hear you. I think you were telling us about the challenges in the industry, and
yeah,
I think
so now you've got the generational challenges fixed.
Right.
Now you've got a problem then with your distribution and revenue collection. Now the revenue collection problems are supposed to be fixed by the privatization of ECG, which is what led to the PDS fiasco, if you remember that. Government of the NPP government did not handle the PDS situation well and messed up the revenue collection beat. Now, in 2016, the NDC government, in collaboration with the Millennium Challenge account, went ahead to set up what was a mutual fund. A mutual fund that was supposed to help us deal with the issues of distribution. The government of Ghana was also supposed to raise some of the funds to deal with the project. Now, this came to Parliament in 2016. The project was supposed to be started. The NDC lost power, and the project was supposed to end in 2018. But for 2.5 years, the MPP government did not raise the requisite funding that was needed to activate the counterpart funding. So you then had a problem with the deterioration of our distribution lines. And that's why it is today, years later, when this shouldn't be the case, that we are now having to see work being done on our distribution lines. And that's why we have challenges with distribution. You're now having grid-co stringing lines that should have been strung in 2017, in 2021. We're 4 years behind schedule. And that's why you're having the challenges that we're having today. And until we call a spade and admit that, look, we got it wrong and we messed up on the job, we can continue to give all the excuses we want to give. It's not going to wash. It's not going to change anything.
Right. Great. So that is a good one, on a good submission on the challenges we have in that industry. And I guess the question is, I don't know if you want to address how the NDC would have fixed this, or the NDC would have strung those, or would have, found.
Yeah, we had started a program in 2016 that was supposed to run from 2016 to 2018 with counterpart funding from the Millennium Challenge account and government of Ghana to ensure that we had changed the 146 kVA lines to 330 kVA lines so that we could carry and transmit more power, because now we had fixed the generational problem. Because look, you need to have the power to be able to transmit it. So first and foremost, you have to fix the generation. Then after fixing the generation, you start working on the transmission, and then after the transmission, you then work on the revenue. It was a 3-step process. This government came in 4 years and messed it up. But I mean, that's the story of Ghana.
Okay, great. So let me ask you quickly about Galamsey. The president, in addressing, I'm going to play a video that would have the president giving an address to. I think this is when he was launching the dialogue into how to kind of address the Galamsey issue. We'll listen to the president, come back and comment on what you hear from the president. The president is talking about the fact that the NDC is in the bush campaigning that they will bring Galamsey back, but then would oppose the president when the president is actually fighting Galamsey. So let's take a quick listen to the president. We'll come back and talk about what.
It is because I want us to have a consensus on a sustainable method of mining the minerals in our land. We cannot have one part of the political divide campaigning for Galamsey in the bush and the other waging an official fight against Galamsey in the open. We must demonstrate that we love our land and are capable of taking care of it ourselves. We do not need foreigners to campaign for the protection of Ghanaian land, our inheritance. We do not need special interest groups to campaign for the protection of Ghanaian soil, flora, and fauna. It is the land of our birth. It is the land we inhabit. It is the land that supports our lands, our lives, and livelihoods. It is the land we named Ghana at independence 64 years ago. And we, the Ghanaian people, must be its best protectors of partisan politics. We must, however, come to the understanding the small-scale mining and the requirement to do away with illegalities in that sector should be beyond partisan politics. Government has a major responsibility to this end, as we are accountable for the stewardship of this sector, as indeed we are of all other sectors of national life. I am determined to enforce the laws on illegal mining, no matter the subject, high or low. I will, however, not act on hearsay or mere allegations without more. I will not hesitate to act, though, where the evidence is hard before the police, and I will do so irrespective of the standing of the person or persons involved. That is the true meaning of equality before the law.
All right, so we've heard enough. So, the president says it's the duty of the government to protect the land, and they have that same duty over the rest of the country in all other spheres. Do you think the president is actually delivering on those words? If he was delivering on those words, how are we at this point where we have to dialogue again? And these dialogues that we usually have and come up with solutions, are they useful to the problems we have? Because he's the president, and even I've heard you at places say he can jail people today. If the district chief executives mining, he can definitely sack them and take them through the legal process. All this are not happening. Is the president just speaking words, sounding lyrical? And to no good? Is that your assessment of what you heard the president said?
Well, you cannot put it any better. The president has not been forthright with the Ghanaian people when it comes to what his fight against Galamsey has been. The president says he was putting his presidency on the line. Isn't it telling that 3 years after he made the statement that he's putting his presidency on the line, he's now calling us to have a national dialogue on Galamsey? In the 3 years that he put his presidency on the line, what action did he take? What step did he take? Look, let's call a spade a spade. Galamsey is mass murder. Galamsey is affecting water supply systems across the country. Galamsey is putting us at an existential threat. Areas that had hitherto never had problems with water are having problems with water now. And so it's a real problem. There are areas of the country, of the capital, that have gone 2 months without seeing one drop of water flow through their taps. This didn't used to be the situation. All of this is as a result of Galamsey and the fact that there's increasing turbidity of the water.
Right.
And so we need to ask the president a simple question. Mr. President, what action and what concrete steps are you taking? Because look, the Chinese ambassador was very clear. He said to us, Chinese don't know our country. They don't know where the gold is. It's Ghanaians who take them there. So we need to ask ourselves, first and foremost, how is it that the 700,000 Chinese who are living in Ghana, and I'm astonished that we have close to 700,000 Chinese living in our little republic. What are they doing here? How did they get into Ghana? What did they say to the Ghanaian embassy in Beijing that gave them visas? What proof did they give to them of jobs or work they were coming to do here before we granted them visas? Or every Chinese man who just shows up at the Chinese embassy in Beijing is being given a visa? Is that what we're doing to our country? And then to the Ghanaians who are conspiring and working with this Chinese and destroying our farmlands and destroying our water bodies, shame on you. Shame on you, because you are not patriots. You do not deserve to be called Ghanaians. To the traditional rulers in whose jurisdiction these Chinese and their Ghanaian co-conspirators come in to mine in the river bodies and coming and destroy the cocoa farms and the farmlands, and you sit there, and because they give you a second-hand car, a few 100,000 Ghana cedis, you allow the destruction of your land. Look, people must understand that we do not hold the land or the natural resource in trust for ourselves or for past generations. Or that it was not bequeathed to us. It does not belong to us. We only hold it in trust for the next generation. And so we have a responsibility to ensure that these resources are well catered for and well taken care of. And this is the reality. And we must ask the president, Mr. President, what have you done as commander-in-chief when we realize that there are soldiers of the Ghana Armed Forces, Ghanaian soldiers, helping and protecting Galamseyers who are destroying our water bodies? As Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, what disciplinary measures have you taken of the men and women of the Ghana Armed Forces who are carrying out such unpatriotic behavior? What has been the president's reaction to DCEs he appointed, using their positions as DCE to facilitate the illegal mining going on in the country? Has he fired these DCEs? What is the president's action on members of his political party, both at the regional and national executive level, who are engaged in Galamsey? What work is he doing about it?
The NDC is in the bush campaigning and saying that when they come back, that they'll return Galamsey.
Well, the NDC is not in power. The NPP is in power. He's in power. And what we see today is that our water bodies are being destroyed.
Right.
So it's not about what someone is campaigning about. And that, again, is just political gibberish. Okay?
Right.
The president has no proof of the NDC saying anything to that regard. The point we're making here is, as we sit today, there is only one president in the country. His name is Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. As we sit in the country today, Galamsey is destroying our water bodies. Galamsey is destroying our farmlands. As we sit today in this country, men and women of the Ghana Armed Forces are providing security. Members of our national security services are engaged in illegal mining. Members of the president's party, his own appointees in the Flagstaff House, Charles Bisiu, was caught on tape receiving money from Manasseh Azuri, Anas, to facilitate illegal mining. He has not fired him. That guy still remains a presidential staffer. That guy still remains the Western Regional Secretary of the NPP. We saw the vice chairman of the central region of the NPP in the central region, Eko Ewusie, making a comment that party Hiasika, to which party needs money. And for that reason, they were doing Galamsey. These are realities. 500 excavators that were seized, disappeared. They developed wings and flew under the watch of our commander-in-chief. There is one person we will hold responsible, and one person alone. His name is Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. He either acts or he stops giving us the sound bites. The fight against Galamsey must be action-oriented. It's not about sound bites. We don't want to hear him talking in policy forums and roundtables and giving us all the right sound bites that you play at shows like this. And on the ground, on the field, that's not what's happening. We're not interested in that.
So if there's one thing that keeps me awake, is that we have waived the Fiscal Responsibility Act so that this administration can spend without any limit. We know the 2024 election is coming up. I'm not sure if you're hearing anything, so whether Mahama is standing again, or whether the NDC will be changing their flag bearer. But you're going into an election where the government has no restriction as to how much can be spent. Does that also keep you awake at night? If so, what is Parliament doing, or what are you guys in Parliament doing to put some restriction on the government, even though there's no the law has been waived for them to spend more than 5% of our GDP?
All right. So the the Fiscal Responsibility Act and the Financial Management Regulations Act all stipulate that in times of national emergencies or pandemics like COVID, the 0% borrowing from the central bank and 5% deficit of bank.
You were explaining to us the details of the Fiscal Responsibility Act and how it came about.
Yes, so we didn't give them a carte blanche. What we said to them was they could borrow to a limit of 10 billion Ghana cedis from the central bank.
Right.
And then they were also giving about 10% deficit that they were allowed to do. But that is, like I said, it wasn't just a carte blanche. It wasn't just do whatever you want and there'll be no accountability. One of the things Parliament is going to be doing is to demand accountability.
Right, but did you say we give them 10% deficit because they've run 16% deficit? They've run 16% deficit as we know it today.
Absolutely, and that's what I'm saying. Go ahead. And that's why I'm saying that. There's going to be accountability. Parliament is going to demand accounts on all the expenditure that has been made so far in the name of COVID. And if there's been any breaches of the limits that Parliament gave, there will be sanctions applied. There are sanctions in the PFM law and the Financial Responsibility Act. There are sanctions in there. So we're going to look into that. We're going to have a full investigation into government's expenditure in 2020. Okay. So it's not as though it's just hooray and happy streets for them. Certainly not. As to whether the NDC is going to bring back President Mahama, that's a no-brainer. I mean, a candidate who moved the total number of votes from around 4.4 million to about 6.4 million. He got 6.4 million votes, and you think, I mean, you must be drinking something to think that he want to change him. Right. You know, he owes it to the NDC, and I am 100% confident that he's the best man to lead us into the next election and win and wrestle power from the incompetent and ineffective Akufo-Addo administration.
That's very decisive. Okay, so we also know that there are 16 parliamentarian seats that are still being contested in courts. NDC actually went and asked for a recount for 8 of them, and the MPP did the same for 8. Do you have any predictions on how this is going to unravel? Do you think the NDC will pick some seats from there?
Well, these are cases that are sub judice. They are before the courts of law. As a lawmaker, I won't want to go into the substance of those cases. I would want to bide my time and see how the cases go. We have hope. We can only hope that the courts will do what is right.
Okay, so I know you got to go, but quickly, we know that the government can benefit from going to the IMF right now, and so that we can get some relief to help us accelerate the economic growth that we have. But we don't want to do that because of the implication on investors coming in to support the economic development program that the government has. Do you think they should go to IMF, or do you think we should proceed the way we are? And also the challenge is because of our debt levels going into IMF, do you think that would be a best approach for us? A way to fix
Ghana is in a worse situation than if we went into an IMF program right now. We have a debt to GDP ratio that is in excess of 76%. Okay, we are constantly borrowing on the Euro bond market. I mean, the thing is, for you to go into an IMF program, you must be a very disciplined government, because the IMF program is you subjecting yourself to strict guidelines, strict restrictions. Okay, so you must be a disciplined government. This government has no discipline. They can't survive on an IMF program. And so they will not subject themselves to an IMF program. So an IMF program that would have giving you about $1 billion with conditions that would help heal your economy, they can't go in there. I mean, not Ken Ofori-Atta and Akufo-Addo. I mean, hell no. They don't have the discipline it takes to be in an IMF program, because they would not be able to meet the standard. So they would rather go onto the Euro market and borrow at exceedingly exorbitant rates and defer payments, ask for moratoriums. That would mean that most of these loans will now start being repaid after 2025 when they're no longer in office. That's the irresponsibility of the kind of leadership that we have today. Our situation is dire. But I only pray at times when I think about Mr. Mahama coming to power in 2025. I can only pray that God gives him grace to be able to run this country, because they're in a big hole and they're digging even deeper into that hole.
Right. So there are predictions in the international community that the Western
and I got to run. This should be our last question.
This is the last question, and then you can go.
Sure.
the concern in the international community is that the Togoland, the Western Togoland situation can erupt. We know the government has had a crackdown in September timeframe, but is there anything, are you hearing anything in Parliament to kind of form a commission or something to steady this thing? Because the argument, the Togoland Union or the Togoland separatist or secessionist groups are making is that the relationship between Ghana and that piece of land is supposed to be a union, and that union hasn't been consummated. Have you heard anything in Parliament or any action?
Well, officially, Parliament has not been briefed on anything relative to Western Togoland post the elections. Right. There was a general security briefing for Parliament by the IGP, who was chairman of the Joint Election Task Force for the election, and questions on the issues regarding to the Western Togoland and the Homeland Study Group came up and responses were given. However, I mean, there's a lot of politics in this country. You should just ask yourself, how come this Western Togoland thing and the secessionist and so-called terror threats from these groups were high on the radar? 3 months to the elections, you saw arrest of 80-year-olds we're told 80-year-olds are planning coup d'etats or plotting to overthrow the government of Ghana and succeed. And I mean, you saw all of those things 3 months to an election. On the basis of that, you saw heavy military deployment into the stronghold of the opposition, NDC. And as soon as the election is over, there's no talk about Western Togoland again. There's no security threat. The soldiers have been withdrawn. I mean, it tells you what this really was. Was this really a security threat, or was this a political gimmick? Your guess is as good as mine. Because if it was a security threat post the election, you should still see military presence there. In fact, there's been a massive drawdown on our security
deployments
numbers in the Volta region, and even troops that are traditionally stationed with the Mortar Regiment in Ho and Hohoi you've seen redeployments of some of these regiment forces to other theaters of operation in the northern part of the country. So you ask yourself, if there truly is a secessionist plot brewing in the Volta region, how come as soon as the elections ended? Why? I don't see the correlation between elections and a secessionist plot. It just is political gimmick by a desperate political party.
Okay, great. Well, Honorable, we want to say a big thank you for every contribution you made today and your submissions. We really appreciate it. And we know that on a day as special as today, the day that we are actually asking the government to fix Ghana, that you honored us, our invitation, and came to speak to us. Do you want to give us some final words and some messages to your constituents, some of whom have actually sent me a private message that you are their representative and they are very proud of you? So if you want to leave us some final words, please go ahead. And
thank you very much for giving me the opportunity and for hosting me, and my warm regards to everyone in the United States who's watching us and across the world who's watching us. To my constituents, it's just one commitment I can make. I'll continue to serve as best as I can to the best of my ability. I'll continue to hold government accountable and demand our fair share of the national cake. And let's fix our country. Let's make it work. It's not just for Ghanaians in Ghana, but even Ghanaians in the diaspora. This is the only country we can call home. It's our real home. Let's work together. Let's fix it.
Thank you so much, Honorable. And what I'll do is, Honorable, I'll get with you and get your information for our listeners who would like to contribute to the program you are running in your constituents to educate the
apprenticeship program. Yeah,
apprenticeship program. Thank you so much for joining the Ghana Agenda. We really appreciate it, and I think my viewers will agree that we've done so well. And thank you so much. We'll talk again. All right. We'll take a quick break, and when we get back, I would see some of your comments, and then I would also see if we can bring my regular panelists to break down what we've heard so far. So share the link if you haven't already done so. My name is Alfred Abuzu, and I've been talking to Sam Dzata, the MP for Ningro Pampram.
Hey, this is your girl coming all the way from the US of A, yeah, baby, aka ya Bantam. And me di feel a boozing pan and to see one virtue the money how Ghana mat other romantic. What's me sending provisions as a sutra credit Emma Ebusia phone and for more Ghana. And one is a www.ghanamat.com. And they would say, boy, a sharp connection. www.ghanamat.com. Let's try more provisions in the credit. Not almost really Angazankasa. I have friend numbers, no more screen.
Are you 65 years or older? Good news. Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. It's true. For most people, your health insurance program increases as you grow older. That's why the state of Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS IL65 to 773-420-8976. If you are 65 years and older, there's one thing we can all agree on. Your health and well-being is important. Whether you are a recent green card holder or retiree, asylee or without paper, you're now eligible for the Illinois Medicaid Health Insurance Program. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, WhatsApp, SMS IL65 to 773-420-8976. Documents needed to apply: your proof of ID, your proof of address, and your proof of income.
Hello, welcome back to the Ghana Agenda. We were just talking to the Honorable Sam Dzata George, the MP for Negro Pram Pram. The MP was telling us how the government is really, for whatever reason, during the election period, the Western Togoland issue becomes, a very important matter, and people are getting arrested. People are, old men are getting arrested here and there. And as the election goes away, that issue is no longer very important. And he's also explained that even the military presence in the Volta region has been significantly withdrawn. This is super eye-opening to me, especially sitting here and hearing that all this fuss about security on the border and all the deployments to the Ketu South area, and that's all those are withdrawn and deployed to other theaters in the country. So what we will be doing now is bring Paul De-Sosoo, who would come and also help me discuss some of the things we've heard from the Honorable. And until today, since the Fix the Ghana hashtag has been established, which is about some 7 days ago, the day which is the 8th of May, which is the day for the demonstration, is for the walk, the president hasn't really responded. The president hasn't said a word. But you remember when the President Prince Charles, who just passed, the president is quick to respond to that. Thanks, Paul De-Sosoo, for joining. So, Paul, I was just saying that the Fix Your Country hashtag or Fix Your Country movement has started about some 7 or 8 good days ago. Today is supposed to be the demonstration. The initial reaction of the government was, to get an injunction to stop them. But I think they've since, backed off that. They had a meeting with the conveyors. The conveyors came out to say that, that they like the seriousness with which the government is treating their concerns. Now, we know that when these things happen, just, he only sets up some kind of task force like the Gallam Stop we saw, the Operation Vanguard, when the media went and cried for a way to deal with Galamsey. That's what happens. And none of this Gallum Stop or Operation Vanguard yields any result. Do you think that's exactly something what is going to happen from all these conversations that we're about to have and the concerns of the Fix the Ghana movement? And do you think it is interesting that the president hasn't said a word up to today? I can hear you now.
Okay. So, yes, thank you very much for having me on the show. And I think Honorable Sam Dzata George did justice to the questions and then spoke a lot on broader issues concerning this hashtag Fix the Country, and then the inept and then the incompetence of the Akufo-Addo government to be able to, keep the country and then address the need of the common people in the country. Well, as you said, it's very sad for us to be having, government spokesperson, chief whip of the NPP side in parliament and other government spokesperson, trying to insult the integrity of the good people of Ghana. I think if Ghanaians have seen an issue and they are raising issues, I think the need for them, or what they're supposed to do, is to agree and understand with the good people of Ghana, and then try to, and then ask for, support from the good people of Ghana. You don't rather respond in the form of insult or, trying to denigrate the good people of Ghana, trying to tell that they should fix themselves and trying to do all sorts of things to them. It was unfortunate. It's happened, but the good people of Ghana are learning their lessons, because you remember on the 7th of January 2017. No, it's not 20. I think 20 after the election in 2016, when His Excellency John Dramani Mahama lost the election,
right,
and he conceded to Nana Addo in 2016 December. The farm statement, he said, "Posterity will judge us all." For me, that posterity judging us all has come too early for me.
Right.
Now, Ghanaians have seen the difference between a real leader and a leader who lied his way into government.
Right. Is it also your belief that John Dramani Mahama would be the most logical choice for the NDC going forward?
Well, I'm a party official. As a party official, you need to have your be neutral and stand in the middle. Look, the question over here is, when you look at the party now, for me, I don't think there is anybody who will able or we can sell easy as compared to the former president.
Right.
It will also not make any sense for us to have somebody who has gathered about almost 6.2 or almost 6.250 votes, 6.2 million 50 votes, for us to go change a candidate. But we said, and as the General Secretary said, our party is a democratic party, Congress, and when we go to Congress, anybody who wants to compete, they will come forward through the process and get the process to a logical conclusion and select the candidate. So for now, it will be too early for us to be saying that, we want His Excellency John Dramani Mahama back. For me, I'm speaking for myself now. As an individual, I will wish, if he's going to avail himself. But we cannot for now say what is going to happen in the future, because nobody knows the future. Nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow. For all you know, he might decide not to go again. So when we get there, we'll cross the bridge, as it was being at the Supreme Court. The bridge that they never crossed at the Supreme Court. But in the instance of the NDC, we'll definitely cross the bridge when we get there.
Right. I also asked Sam whether he knows or he has any prediction on how the 16 court cases will end and whether the NDC is likely to pick any seats. What is your... Yeah.
Well, these are legal issues which as a party officer and as an educated person, you don't have to make predictions over these issues. But, if I can say about the Techima South court case, I think we are seeing the truth. The truth is coming out, and if only they allow for the truth, they will allow for justice to take it course. I mean, it will be a good news for the NDC. So let's keep watching that seat. Let's keep on following that court case. Let's keep waiting, and let's hope the judge who is on that case will not will defer all odds, all pressure from any quarters, and do the right thing for the sake of Mother Ghana. The right thing.
Okay, so because of the impact of this, you know, most analysts are revising our economic growth projected by almost a fraction of about 200 basis points. So I don't know. We are not even, you know, inoculating people quick enough. In the United States here, what we have is a situation where people are not trying to get a vaccine. People are, you know, vaccine hesitant. But in Ghana, people took their first shots, but the second shot is not even available for them to take. I understand some shots arrived today. There's some more on the way. I think we had about 850 arriving today, and there's supposed to be some 1.3 million on the way. And because of the issues in India, and we know that the AstraZeneca vaccine is actually manufactured in India, and all the logistical and supply chain issues, it's becoming difficult, and it's going to make it such that we will not be able to recover the economy quickly to see growth that have been projected in the 2020.
I think the data is as it is that with the vaccine, I mean, the first delivery that they had, they've been able to put shots into over 850 people's arms. They were expecting the second consignment to come in. Unfortunately, because of what's happening in India, it's been very difficult for them to have. I mean, but just yesterday they had a delivery of 300,000, not 800,000, 300,000 delivery yesterday. So now the question we want to ask is that, you know, you've put in over 850,000 people have got shots in their hands. Now, the second dose that you need to get, you have only 300,000. I mean, how are you going to do that? The remaining 500,000 people, where are they going to get the dose from? I heard the Minister of Health saying that they can stay up to 16 weeks and nothing wrong about it and all those stuff. Well, I'm not a health expert in this aspect, so I don't want to get into it. But the question is, the government need to find ways and means to get the vaccine and put in the shot or in the arms of those who have taken theirs first, because it will be an excess in fertility, because you shot in over 850 people's arm. You have 300 that came in yesterday. The 300 that came in yesterday, how are they going to distribute it? Which people will be given the priority? This is a whole lot of, I mean, calculation plus minus that they have to do. But also tells us that this government is incompetent. It tells how incompetent this government is. I don't want them to put the blame. They are putting the blame on COVID. They are putting the blame on India. India having its numbers rising. That is why they can't get vaccine and all those stuff. Look, as a good and as a good management team, they should have foreseen that. They should have, I mean, factored that into their plan right from day one when they got the first consignment. You don't wait after getting the first consignment, putting the shots in people's hands before going for the second consignment. I think it's a wrong move. I think they should have done it better. They should have even put a lot of, a lot of effort in working to make sure that they get a lot of, contact to be able to get those shots in people's arms. So we just hope and pray that, our brothers and sisters back home who have taken the shot, who are waiting for their second shot, we hope that, God will bring a miracle so that, those shots can be, obtained and then put into people's arms. That's right. Ghana is over 30 million people. So doing a little less than a million, you've not done anything.
About 2 to 3.
There's a long way to go. There's a long way we need to go as a country.
Okay, great.
There's a long way we need to go as a country.
All right. Ibrahim Mohammed wants me to tell you that Alfred, how are you? Please tell Mr. Paul that he should not jubilate on fix the country, because if NDC comes to power and they fail, Ghanaians will strike again, and that time they would or should not tell us NPP is masterminding it. So fix the country,
Well, I'm not jubilating Ibrahim Mohammed. I am not jubilating. The truth is the truth. You Ghanaians allowed the super incompetent NPP government to deceive you in 2016. We told you guys that all the promises they are giving to you, they cannot fulfill it. Look, Alfred, let's put it on record. This is the country. It's not as a matter of 5 months of them being government. It boils back as far back as 2017 when they took power.
Right.
Before they took power in 2016, they gave a whole lot of promises. They gave a whole lot of assurance. When you look at their manifesto, they blew the mind of the good people of Ghana, promising them heaven. And when they got into power, they saw that it's not possible. Instead of that coming out to say the truth and apologize to the good people of Ghana, like the way Professor Mills did, the late Professor Mills, blessed man, let his soul rest in peace. He did about the health insurance, one-time payment. He came out boldly as a leader and apologized and asked Ghanaians that that was what he was trying to do, but unfortunately, he couldn't make it. In instance, Nanado and Dr. Baumia both have decided to close their eyes on the truth. They keep on throwing dust into the eyes of the good people of Ghana. You remember when in 2017, when they got into government, the first 100 days, Dr. Baumia stood out there and said they've achieved 111 promises that have been achieved. How come that 111 has changed 70 promises? You see, this should tell you how incompetent these people are. They keep to the good people of Ghana. They keep on deceiving the good people of Ghana. They don't give the truth and the true fact and figures to the good people of Ghana. Alfred, example is the deficit of the country, the money we are owing. They give different figures to the Parliament of Ghana, and when they go to the IMF, they give different figures. And
it's now 16%. When we were told it was 11 or so percent when it came to the report the budget. So you're right about that.
So when you are managing a country and you are trying to deceive the people using different figures, I know Dr. Baumia's word over here. When your economic fundamentals are weak,
the exchange rate will expose you.
But for me, I am saying when your economic fundamentals are weak, COVID-19 will expose you.
Oh my God! Okay, that's a good one. Okay.
COVID-19, Alfred, before you go on, let me make this word. COVID-19 the cause of the economic moves we are in. Ghana was not doing well before COVID-19 came somewhere last year, January, February. So they should not blame on it. Even though COVID-19 has changed the world, a lot of people are being impacted. Look at the United States. Joe Biden took power, and there's a whole lot of things that the former president did that destroyed the system, destroyed the economy. Joe Biden is not putting blame on the former administration. He said he's fixing it. But in Ghana, they are assassins. They've been in power for 5 years. 5 years, my friend. They are still blaming the former administration. This should tell you how visionless. This should tell you how directionless. This should tell
you. Mauli is saying, wait, why do we have Noguchi Institute and we are talking about miracles? And then, he said again, we have a country that is just a white elephant.
I agree with Mauli. I agree with him 100%. I agree with him 100%. Instead, you see, America invested a lot of money, a lot of effort into research into this vaccine, to get this vaccine for its people. Instead of us doing the same thing, the money, the grant they came to, don't forget that when the COVID came, the World Bank gave them the support, IMF gave them support. All those money were given to party apparatchiks. I was in Ghana in December. They were sharing the money to the party members in the inverted commas of supporting stimulus package, which was not. Now the question is, all those money they took from the IMF, the World Bank, they set up a fund. Nobody has accounted to us as we speak. Nobody knows the amount of money that went to that fund. You see?
Yeah, the honorable MP says that they would be investigating all that. In other words, they're not going to let that go. They will be bringing all the government officials in charge of the COVID fund distribution and all the expenditure to Parliament to answer to them on how those monies were spent.
Mr. Muzo, the Parliament is going to do its works. I respect that part of assertion that made by Honorable Sam George. But the question is, need the Auditor General. The reason why they ousted Domolovo out of office, they know, and they know very well that the Molowo is going to go under them and invest every pesewa. That is why they did everything to get him out of office. But you know, there is a saying that crime does not expire. Even if it will take them 20 years in power, there is a time coming whereby all these things will be investigated. The truth will be out there for Ghanaians to know the truth. How these people spend the money that was given to them to support the common people, the money that was given them to support the economy. These things will come out.
Okay, let me ask you about this. The Monetary Policy Committee is getting ready to meet between 19th May to 21st of May or so. Hopefully, I'm getting the dates right. Yeah, and when they meet, they usually set what interest rates would be, or what we call the policy rates. Currently, inflation is hovering at what is it? Inflation is about 8.5%. Do you think interest rates should be, increased at this point? Because usually what you see in the United States here is to kind of cushion the impact of COVID-19, they've reduced interest rates so low. And you saw how that impacted, the boom in the housing sector. People were buying houses left and right because the interest rate is low. When interest rates are low, people are able to borrow money and a lot of business activities are then undertaken. But in our country, what is happening is it looks like interest rates should be lowered, but we can't, because if you lower interest rates, it's going to cause more inflation problem. Currently, our inflation is out of the roof. What do you expect out of that meeting between the 19th and the 22nd of May? Do you think the Monetary Policy Committee is going to make any movement or any news on the interest rate fronts?
Well, I think as you are an expert in that field, and you've said it all. I personally don't believe there's nothing that can be done, because look, as you said, in the US, interest rates are being reduced and it's going down, but that is not going to happen in Ghana. Already, the economy is broken. The deficit that we are expecting this year is beyond the. So how can they go further to reduce interest rate? Rather, the government has introduced new taxes, which is going to kill the people. So for me, this meeting with the Monetary Policy Committee, it's a meeting that is supposed to come up, but I'm not expecting anything, positive to come out of it. Positive in the extent that whilst other countries are trying to bring down interest rate, Ghana will not be able to do that. Ghana will rather increase their interest rate. They cannot, because if they go down, the economy will totally collapse. Already, the economy is standing on only one leg as we speak, and it's at the ICU. So if they dare go there to reduce interest rate, the economy will totally collapse. The one leg that the economy is sitting on will also go down. The ICU, the ICU, the equipment that is supporting the economy, everything will be shut down. Ghana will, and we don't want it to happen. It's our country. Even though are mismanaging it, we are hoping and we are praying that God will keep us all alive. 2024, we vote and bring a better government into power to take the affairs of Ghana. Ghana is retrogressing. Ghana is not progressing. It is rather retrogressing under this super incompetent government. And therefore, let it all be on record that this government needs to set up. They deceive the people. They said they have the men. Where are the men? They made a lot of, political propaganda campaign. Where are the men? They should bring the economy. The economy is collapsing. They should stop blaming COVID. COVID has nothing to do with it. It is due to their management, their inefficiency, and super incompetence that is leading to where we are as a country.
Right. Okay. So there is also a security issue brewing in Mali right now, where there are some militants affiliated with Islamic State in the Sahel, entering villages, taking over, certain gold operations in the Cairns. The Cairns apparently is a border area between Mozambique, Mali, and that fight has spilled over, or those, security issues have spilled over sometime into Cote d'Ivoire. It hasn't really gotten to Ghana. And these things have been increasing. Mostly, these militants will take over artisan mines so that they can, drill the goals to support, or they can mine the goals to support their operations. There are people who are dissatisfied with their governments in these areas, and this thing is spreading, and Ghana would have to sit up. Is this one of the things you would like to see your government fix? You would like to see your government address the security within the nation, since we now have our president as the chair of ECOWAS?
Thank you, Alfred. I think it's not only an issue of security in Ghana. There's a security threat in the sub-region, and as a matter of fact, all countries in the sub-region need to be very careful. Need to strengthen their security operative apparatus. I think in the Nanado's government, the last government, they had over 4 or 5 security couples, if I'm not wrong. We didn't see the work they are doing. So I hope this time around they have set up, they look at the interest of the nation, make sure that they block and then strengthen all the borders. Also make sure that they put security measures in place to ensure that these people will not get into the country to cause mayhem. We love our country as much as we do politics, as much as we're against the government. We not want to have, we don't see insecurity in Ghana. Ghana is the only country we have. We have no other country. So I will use this platform to call on the government to be very on top of the security issues in the sub-region, and let's all work and let's all support any help they need. If they need the help, they should speak to the former administration. Look, the security of the nation is a priority. They should be pompous and be blockheaded and think they can do it alone. This is the time that if they need to bring security experts in the former administration on board, bring them on board, because if these people enter into our country, they will destabilize our country. And don't think that already the country is on a timing bomb, because they refuse the fix the country people to hold a demonstration tomorrow, because they played political games to stop the people. And Alfred, if people want to demonstrate, people want to echo their views, and you try to suppress them, you try to stop them, you rather give the opportunity for them to boil up. Look, Alfred, I can tell you, this government is not smart. If I were to be in charge of the security, I would have allowed this thing to go off, because why? As now, there is over 600,000 people who are following this hashtag fix the country. They are trying to delay them. The more they delay them, the more they get people joining them. By the time they will be aware, there will be over 2, 3, 4 million people who will be supporting this hashtag fix the country, and they cannot take it. So for them playing political mischief, propaganda to stop these people is unfortunate. And this also has security implications. That is why I am saying that we need them to call all security experts, in matter which party you belong to, whether CPP, NDC, PMP, whatever. Bring those experts, let's sit down, let's strategize and protect our country.
So what you're saying is this is more of a national issue. It shouldn't be even we just saying we should all work together with the government in a way to deal with this particular problem.
That's what I'm trying to say, yes.
Okay, so Mr. Paul, I think we've done great to the topics for the day. Do you have any final comments you want to leave with our listeners before we bring today's program to a wrap? I know that I was expecting that colleagues from the MPP side to join us, but for whatever reason, I couldn't get hold of them. We'll bring them back next week, and I'm sure they would have 1 or 2 things to say about all the things that we've heard today.
I hope they will come. I hope they will come. They are running away from us now because they have nothing to say. They are running away because they know they cannot come and defend anything. Those folks who are on the platform that we are all on, that we're talking, have you seen them talking? A lot of things. They are not talking. They've gone into hiding. This how they are failing. This should tell you how the government is failing. But I'm not happy, and I'm not going to celebrate the government failing. All is that let's all help to build the country, because you know what? If we don't help these people, they will mess up the system. And when we talk about 2024 is going to be difficult for us to manage. So we want to help them. They should be bold enough to come out and say that we need a help, and we will help them. We'll bring our economic expert on board to help the country that belongs to all of us. It does not only one group of people. And I want to say this evening that, look, the culture of silence is real. And I think next week we'll go depth into that issue, the culture of silence, and then the hashtag fix the country. I think next week I want to have one of our colleagues from the other side. Let's delve into it. Let's discuss it into details. But look, the culture of silence is real. It's real. People are being suppressed. People are being prevented from talking. When you try to talk, they do everything to frustrate you. And that's what they did.
Captain Smart.
Exactly. I wanted to talk about that. They did to Captain Smart, and even to this hashtag fix the country. Look at the political gimmicks they played with these people.
My understanding is the police invited them to a meeting, and then on the way to the meeting, the police
diverted them to a ministerial meeting to go and meet the Minister for Security, Interior, Finance, and Attorney General. I mean, these are political gimmicks. You understand? What we are saying is that if you keep on suppressing the people, if you keep on pushing the people, you will not allow people to speak their mind.
Right.
It will get to a time that when it bursts out, you cannot control it. And before I sign off, look, things that Captain Smart did in 2012 to 2016.
Right.
He's not even doing 1/10 to these people. And look at what they've done to him. The difference between His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and the President Nana Addo Dankwa. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. On that note, we'll bring the program to an end. It's been great talking to you, Mr. Paul, and always for coming to the show and blessing us with your submissions. And we also want to say thank you to Honorable Sam George for joining earlier and also contributing to the show today. On that note, we say fix Ghana. We'll be back next week. If you haven't told a friend yet, please share the link. Let a friend know that the Ghana Agenda is on from 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 1 p.m. Central Time. And if you're in Ghana, we come on at 6 p.m. Ghana time. On that note, have a good rest of the weekend. We would be...
Are you 65 years or older? Good news. Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. It's true. For most people, your health insurance program increases as you grow older. That's why the state of Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS IL65 to 773-420-8976. If you are 65 years and older, there's one thing we can all agree on. Your health and well-being is important. Whether you are a recent green card holder or retired,